Basketball fans, what's going on? Welcome into NBA Now from Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and today we're going to be breaking down all the latest news and rumors going around the association. And the first piece of news today is that the NBA is coming back. Probably. We're not going to make any guarantees on this show, but as far as we know, it sounds like the NBA is making real headway toward getting the season started again. Adam Silver and some of the big wigs up in the NBA had discussions about restarting the season in Orlando, Florida at Disney World, which would be a lot of fun in itself. And then Adam Silver sent a bunch of surveys to all the GMs in the league, all 30 of them. And now we're expected to get some more clarity this week, probably around Friday, about what the NBA exactly is going to do. And when that happens, we'll have all of that for you here on Chat Sports. Now, some of the more specific topics they discussed were as follows. They do have a two-step approach coming to restarting the season, which would include 2 training camps, one in their city. So like if the Dallas Mavericks restart, they'll play in Dallas and so on and so forth. And then another 2-week training camp wherever they decide to finish the season, like Orlando, Florida. Now, another thing is that the NBA players are not comfortable with taking the test that is required to test for the virus. If you've seen it, it's really uncomfortable. The players don't like that, so they're looking for a more comfortable way to do that. And then finally, they also talked about sharing different support services among the NBA teams. So whenever they get to wherever they're going to play, all the teams are going to share the same doctor. They'll share all the same security personnel. That way, less people are involved, and that way, teams can stay as safe as possible. Now, they also discussed some formatting things that I want to get into, but before I do that, I want to tell you about our friends over at Fanatics that are hooking up all you NBA fans with some sweet deals. You get some of these NBA hats up to 60% off when you go to chatsports.com/NBA hat. It's a sweet deal. Go save some money with Fanatics. Go get your style upgraded and go rep your favorite team when you go to chatsports.com/NBA hat and save some money while you do it. Thanks to our friends over at Fanatics. Now let's talk a little bit more about some of these formatting things that the NBA did discuss, some of the higher ups in the NBA. The first one is they said they might just advance straight to the playoffs, which would include 16 teams, 4 rounds, best of 7, exactly how the season ended. And that would be a 1-16 seeding. Another option they discussed is a playoff plus option, which would expand the number of teams with the opportunity to play either a play-in tournament to determine those final seeds by the bubble teams, or it would replace the first round of the playoffs with a group stage. Now, another option that they say, hey, we'll just pick the regular season up right where we left off and finish all the games in Orlando, Florida, or wherever they decide to play, and then go to the playoffs. That's how I'd like to see it happen. We'll see if that actually goes through. Now, another one is pick up the regular season where they left off and then add a play-in tournament. I think this is unnecessary. If you finish the season, you don't need a tournament to decide who's going to be in or out. Just finish the season like normal. And then finally, they also discussed some scrimmage games that they want to try to get into. So some games that wouldn't count, basically preseason basketball to knock the rust off. I think that's important. I think they definitely need to implement that. Another thing they talked about was shortening the regular season. So they'll say, hey, we'll try to finish it, but we'll only play 72 or 76 games. We won't go all the way. Then they said maybe we'll change the playoff format. Maybe we'll just go traditional East-West playoffs, or we'll reseed the teams 1-16. Personally, I'd like to see it stay traditional and go East-West. Maybe you guys disagree. Let me know which one you like more in the comment section. They also discussed some roster changes and the latest date for finishing the season. Now, the roster changes are pretty self-explanatory. They'd basically add an extra roster spot for guys to join the playoff teams, or they would also let the two-way players become eligible for the playoffs, which they are not right now. And the latest date they discussed for finishing the season is either Labor Day, September 15th, October 1st, October 15th, or the latest possible is November 1st. Now, we'll probably get more clarity on all of this come Friday. And when we do, make sure you're tuned in to Chat Sports because we'll have all the details for you there. Now, if they do say, hey, let's go straight to the playoffs, I want to look at what the seeds might look like. 1-8 in the Western Conference. Here it is. Number 1, the Los Angeles Lakers. Nobody's touching them right now, followed by the Clippers, the Nuggets, and the Jazz. A pretty strong top 4. But as we all know, the Western Conference is super strong in itself. At 5, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Above, actually hilariously, the Houston Rockets. And then the Dallas Mavericks at 7, and the Memphis Grizzlies coming in at 8. But the Grizzlies are on the bubble, so they're one of those bubble teams that might play in a play-in tournament should the NBA implement that. In the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks are number 1. Again, nobody's touching them, followed by the defending champion Toronto Raptors, the Boston Celtics, and the Miami Heat to round out your top 4. And then you go 5 through 8. And really, this Eastern Conference is looking better than I think we expected, with the Pacers at 5, the Sixers at 6, Brooklyn Nets at 7, and the Orlando Magic at 8. Could be a lot of fun. I'm ready to get the season started again. I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm excited to see what they do to get the season restarted, but it sounds like we're going to have NBA basketball sometime in July. So how excited are you that the NBA is probably coming back from 1 to 10, or maybe you want to break the scale, because that's where I'm at. I'm at like a 15, maybe even higher. So let me know in the comment section below how excited you guys are. Now, one of those teams that is expected to make the Eastern Conference playoffs is the Brooklyn Nets, and they're interested in acquiring Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards. Now, I do want to make it clear that Bradley Beal's agent said no. Beal's not going anywhere, but agents only have so much say-so. If the Wizards and Nets want to make a deal, they can make a deal. The Brooklyn Nets are looking to add a third star along with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and that third star in this situation is Bradley Beal. Now, I don't expect it to happen, but maybe it will. Of course, Beal is a star himself, 28 points per game and nearly 7.3 assists on the Wizards, a team who really isn't that good, and he's getting a lot of assists along with 4 rebounds. Now, his three-point percentage at 34% does not speak to how good of a three-point shooter he is, because he has to shoot a lot on that Wizards team. Not a lot of good players. But if the Nets really want to pull this off, they're going to have to give up a lot. So I cooked up this trade, and this is what I think would have to happen. Bradley Beal and Shabazz Napier go to the Brooklyn Nets just to make the money work. You throw in Napier, and you get rid of another guard because they're going to be guard overload after this trade. Then you trade Spencer Dinwiddie, who, by the way, shut down his GoFundMe thing. Caris LeVert, also great player. I love Caris LeVert. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great player. He needs to come back healthy. Then DeAndre Jordan to make the money work. They don't want DeAndre Jordan, but he makes the money work. And Taurean Prince. Now, that's a lot of good players, but none of them even scrape the surface of how good Bradley Beal is. So that's why you got to add in 2 first-round picks to get a third star. Now, the Nets are notorious for giving up way too much for star players, aka Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett back in the day. But I think this trade might be worth it if you're the Brooklyn Nets, because this starting 5 is probably one of the best starting 5s in the league when healthy. You get Kyrie Irving and Bradley Beal as your backcourt. Really, the only backcourt that's even touching that right now is Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and they're also hurt. Then you got Joe Harris as your small forward. Defensively, not a lot for you, but a great three-point shooter, a guy you want on a championship-level team. Kevin Durant, of course, when healthy, one of, if not the best player in the world. And then Jarrett Allen defending the middle. I like Jarrett Allen as their starting center anyway over DeAndre Jordan. I think they need to commit to that. And if you get rid of Jordan for Bradley Beal, that's an absolute win in my books. Now, this is also good for the Wizards, but I'd understand if the Wizards are like, no, we're not going to trade our best player for, a bunch of really good guys and a couple first-round picks that would end up in the late 20s. But do you think the Wizards will trade Bradley Beal eventually? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm going to say no, because I think once John Wall gets healthy, they get Bradley Beal back. Maybe they start to develop guys like Rui Hachimura. This team could be fun to watch down the road. Now, one team I'd love to see him trade for is the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think it's going to happen. The Mavs don't have the firepower to make it happen. But if it does, we'll have that update on our Mavs only channel. When you go to youtube.com/allthingsmavs, that's where you can subscribe to our All Things Mavs channel. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. We need your help to get there. So go hit that subscribe button. Again, that link is down below. Now let's talk about one more thing, and it's LaMelo Ball. The New York Knicks have him as their top-rated point guard on their draft board. Now, the Knicks are projected to have about the 6th pick in the NBA draft. I think LaMelo Ball will be gone before that, but also the lottery can shake up. You never know where the Knicks will end up. Now, of course, I think they got this right because, in my opinion, LaMelo Ball is the best point guard in this draft. I think he's the 3rd best player in this draft. I'll get to why here in just a minute. I mean, heck, he played overseas. He was playing in a professional league, and he was dominating a professional league with grown men. Now, listen, I get it. LeVar Ball, he's a loudmouth. It's hard to cheer for some of the Ball brothers sometimes. But LaMelo Ball, I'm a fan of this kid's game. I'm excited to see it translate to the NBA. Now, in the NBL, 17 points per game, 8 boards, 7 assists. The kid was almost a walking triple-double. Now, his three-point percentage was not good, but he was shooting a ton. So he was kind of jacking these shots up. In the NBA, that's not going to happen. He's going to be a little slowed down with his shots and really be able to make better decisions. Now, the Knicks already have a lot of point guards. They've got Frank Ntilikina, who they just drafted. They've got Elfrid Payton, who they just signed, and he's probably their best one on this list. They got Dennis Smith Jr., who they just traded for, and they've got Alonzo Trier. Now, here's the problem. I'm going to be brutally honest. These guys stink. They're all garbage. So really, you go out, you draft a point guard, you let them run your offense. That's what LaMelo Ball does. He is better than all four of these guys, and he's one of the best prospects in the 2020 NBA draft. My top 5 on my big board goes James Wiseman, number 1, Anthony Edwards, number 2, and LaMelo Ball at 3, followed by Obi Toppin and Deni Avdija. Now, if they can't get LaMelo Ball, that's okay. There's other great point guards like Killian Hayes, who I like a lot. There's also Tyrese Maxey, who could make some sense for the Knicks. But if the Knicks do get LaMelo Ball, this starting 5 finally becomes fun again in New York. Now, listen, there's not a lot of defense being played here. Ball isn't known for his defense. RJ Barrett's a pretty solid defender. Kevin Knox, not a good defender. Julius Randle, not a great defender. Mitchell Robinson, great defender. But really, you've got 5 guys who can be building blocks for the future. I'm a believer in Kevin Knox still. I think in the right system, he will be able to flourish offensively. Mitchell Robinson, one of the most underrated centers in the league. LaMelo Ball and RJ Barrett as your backcourt is a lot of fun. Barrett got a lot of unnecessary hate in his rookie year. And Julius Randle can score the ball. We all know that. I'm a big fan of what this Knicks team could look like if they get LaMelo Ball, but he's not the best player in the draft. So I want to know from you guys, to round out this show, who do you think the best player in the 2020 NBA draft is? I have James Wiseman as my guy. A lot of people have Anthony Edwards, number 1. Some may even say LaMelo Ball. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And NBA fans, I'll talk to you later.